What's up, family? Shalom Hotep. This is Will I Am, aka BroProdigy, back again, and I just wanted to really do a video. And this video is basically for my subscribers, those that have went out and take the time to purchase the book. Excuse me, which is right here, might add. I gotta plug the book. You know what I'm saying? Got to. All right. This is the book, Gnosis of a God. I designed all the artwork for the front cover. This is the back. Your back page blurred. It's me right there. That handsome young man right there is me. And get it. You can get it on Amazon right now, or you can just email me and I can actually shoot you a copy cheaper, actually, and autograph it for you or for someone you might purchase it for. But this installment, this video, is going to be the 10 most asked questions that have been posed to me via email, correspondence, etc. Right? So I picked 10 of the most popular questions that I've been asked, and I'm going to really explain them for you all out there. Okay, it's really a nice day out, here in Atlanta, Georgia. I was going to do this video actually outside, but my battery is pretty weak. So anyway, I hope everyone out there is doing okay. I know it's tough. Hang in there. If you have a job, barely getting by, barely making it, sleeping in your car, on the floor, on the couch of your friend's house, wherever you're at, you know what I'm saying? Wherever you're at, just keep your head up, keep your head up. Times are hard. Life is hard. It is. However, we will overcome. We will overcome. Because that cannot kill us, only makes us stronger. Knowing the truth, you should know that you cannot die anyway. And dying, the concept and the fear of death is just an illusion. It's just a dream. It's an illusion within a dream. Okay? So, anyway, shout out to everybody out there watching this video live. 10 questions. Most asked, right? Very controversial, some not so. Some I've heard before. Some I've answered before on previous installments. If you haven't checked out my previous videos, go back and check them out. And comment, because whether it be a positive comment, negative comment, what have you, I keep all the comments up. I don't delete any comments. So alright, now the first question is, what is life? What is life? I mean, it seems simple. It seems like it's easily explainable, and really is. What is life? Or by life, I assume he's asking what we commonly experience as reality, okay, which many people refer to as life, when actually it should properly be referred to as sleep, okay, a slumber or death, quote unquote. Okay, so the concept or our aspect of reality as an artificial framework, which is the title of my previous installment. Go back and check that one out too. Time as an artificial framework. Life is just what we define as life, what we see and interpret through our sensory data, through our 5 sensory data streams. This life is but a dream. It's a dream. It's a series of events that never happened, quoting Bobby Hemmett. When there's not multiple phases of life, but really a pattern, okay? Actually, what's first is, and the second question is actually, what is death? Okay, so I'm going to answer that as one, okay? Actually, so basically, spirit is birth, okay? And then spirit ascends, all right? And then spirit gets dormant or goes into a state of contemplation or hibernation. And that hibernation period that it goes through, within that process, consciousness lowers in vibration. And as consciousness lowers in vibration, certain senses go dormant, okay, or are rendered inactive as a consequence of spirit consciousness going into a slumber, resting, if you will. Okay, now when we're born, okay, when you look at life, when you look at earth, it's all about fertility. All right, fertility, that which is fertile ground. When you sow seed into fertile ground. The same thing is applicable for this instance. Okay, spirit, as it is going into its hibernation period, rests in this dimension that we call earth. Okay, and it rests inside the womb, because the womb is that which is the most fertile ground, spiritually I'm talking about. So it rests, it finds rest in that womb. All right, and then, which actually is a tomb. The womb is actually a tomb for spirit. Okay, it's a tomb for a spirit, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. It is what it is. So spirit, as it goes into a hibernation period and lowers in vibration, as it is quote unquote dying, or as it is quote unquote setting, the sun rises and sets, Horus and Set, Heru and Set. Okay, so as it's dying, the fertile ground that it rests in, that's conducive to its vibration, the womb of a woman, it finds place and is tuned within matter. Okay, within matter, Maya, Anu. Okay, and then that womb thus becomes that house. Okay, that casket. But then, to complete the cycle, you have birth, then you have growth, and then you have quote unquote death, or physical death, which is being born again. We must be born again, because as spirit we were birthed, and then we ascended, and then we went into a hibernation period, lowering in vibration, consequently opening up these five senses that we interpret our reality through, okay, which became the tomb within earth, matter, ground, dirt, all right, products of earth and water. All right, now we went through life, and then when we quote unquote physically die, that's the resurrection, the phoenix rising from the ashes. Okay, back into that spiritual realm. Okay, to continue to ascend. All right, so life as we know it is all a dream right now as we interpret it. And then when you die, you are actually born again, all right, into newness of life. So each spirit is that fire, that air, and each spirit is Christ. Each spirit that descends into matter is Christ, because it had to sacrifice that which is higher for that which is lower. It had to sacrifice itself for the sin of the world, or the sin in the world, or to go into the world and become the light of men. All right, be joined to physicality, and because of that union, spreading more seed. Okay, so life is just a series of events, okay, and an everlasting process, and an everlasting chain. All right, from being conscious, self-awakened, to ignorance. Okay, not knowing. All right, so gnosis, ignorance. Okay, your polarities. And death, what we label as death, is just the spirit descending into purgatory. Okay, descending into purgatory. And since it cannot help, since spirit cannot help but move, that the consequence of that spirit thinking, contemplating is us moving and exhibiting our will, enforcing our will upon matter, upon the feminine, or upon receptive entities. Okay, so death is really just an illusion. It's an illusion, but the fear comes into play because of ignorance. Okay, a lot of people that are fearful are people that are ignorant. Okay, being ignorant was considered to be very dangerous because a consequence of ignorance is fear, paranoia. Okay, you know what I mean? And that has been used to control a populace, a society, a community, a kingdom, whatever you want to call it. All right. So yeah, death is just an illusion. It's just an illusion. Once you wipe away the fear of it, then you, at that point, you realize how powerful you truly are and how powerful mentally you really are. Okay. I cover everything pretty much. Okay, let me add this side note in real quick too, because when let me see if I can draw this, because I think I can draw it better than I can tell you about it. Okay, all right. So I don't know if you can see this or not, but okay, we look at Earth like this. Okay, you have your sea, oceans, land, whatever. Alright, this is just a quick sketch, right? We see Earth as like, a big ball. I don't know if you can see that or not, but like a big ball of stuff. You know what I mean? But when you're spirit, you look at the Earth like this. Okay, you have a bunch of different, you look at it as ground, but you see it as being separated by groups of fertile organisms. Okay, like this right here, right? Hold on, let me see. I don't know if you can see it or not, but where is it at? Right here. I'm sorry, y'all, but this is just off the freestyle. But right here, that red, when your spirit, you look at the Earth as groups of fertility. Okay, in the Earth, you look at the Earth as being fertile, but more fertile in some spots, less fertile in other spots, whatever. Okay, so as spirit is losing consciousness and going to sleep, all right, it naturally is attracted to that which is the most comfortable for that spirit. Okay, like when you go to sleep, for an example, right? To get the best sleep that you can, you go out and you buy a nice bed, and pillows, comforter, blah blah blah. You want something nice to sleep on. All right, so you're attracted to a certain a feel to a mattress, or to a box spring. So that's the same way that spirit is attracted to the womb. It looks, and the womb is and depending upon the womb, like some wombs are more fertile, some wombs are less fertile. The more fertile the womb is, the attraction is going to draw a certain spirit. Okay, and that spirit is going to rest on that ground, on that fertile ground, and cultivate. Okay, and the offspring of that is the soul. Okay, the soul is a byproduct of spirit and matter interacting. Like when you heat up a hot piece of steel and you dip it in a bucket of water, that steam is the soul. All right, the soul is a product of matter, material reality, the feminine interacting with an assertive force, which would be spirit, and the offspring of that is what we call soul. All right. So, why does evil exist? Okay, that's another question. Why that was I've heard that a lot, but why does evil exist? What is evil? Evil is defined as injury or an act committed against a certain party. Okay, an injury. All right, evil is based upon, well, I mean, you can't escape a subjectiveness to it. You know what I mean? Evil depends on perception and what you perceive to be good or what you perceive to be wrong. However, I would say that if it does injure another spirit, then it has to be in a negative way. Now, what is negative? What is negative? Negative is the opposite pole or the opposite direction. Duality creates negativity. And what is evil? Evil is something that increases one's entropy, increases one's disorder. Okay? Amassing drag, slowing your vibration down. That's what I would consider to be evil. That's what I would consider to be evil. Or evil could just be chakras that exist or reside lower than other chakras on an infinite scale. You know, so I think at the end of the day, evil is subjective. Evil is subjective. What one group might call evil, another group might call righteous. You know, or what one group might condone as being socially appropriate, one group might label it as being taboo. So I would say ultimately evil is subjective. It's subjective. However, if you meditate, and when you meditate on who you are spiritually, you will get in tune with what you are. What you are. You. Existing. Okay? Not faking the funk and all that other bullshit, but who you are as a person. Once you get to know and accept all your little idiosyncrasies or your bad habits and work and really get to know self, know thyself, then you will always be true to yourself. And that which comes against you is evil to you. But it's just a subjective interpretation based upon your course and your evolution as a spirit. Okay? So I would say ultimately, I don't even think a lot of people know what, like, can even point to that which is evil if they don't know what is righteous in their code, their personal code of conduct, and what they're here to do, and how they've grown over umpteen gazillion years. Okay, so what another question was raised is, what should we be focusing on? What should we be focusing on? Me, as a Gnostic, I would say what we should be focusing on 24/7, 365 is evolution, evolving. And if you know better, you do better, or you should do better. So gaining knowledge and gaining understanding is vital in your progress in your evolution. Okay, we should be focusing on evolving. All right, evolving, because a lot of your different religions focus on small things and sects and dogma. Okay, they do not highlight and show you the big picture. Okay, which this lifetime, this incarnation, is just a segment that exists in a dream reality of the consciousness of spirit, your spirit. All right, and that when you quote unquote die, that's when life actually begins. All right, but you do have the memories of this dream, okay, that can teach you something, just like dreams that we have here teach us things about ourselves and our fears and our weaknesses and our lusts, our vices, you know what I'm saying? So we should be focusing on comprehending who we are, accepting the good, the bad, and the ugly, and moving on and growing, and not getting caught up in the matrix of materialism, capitalism, and do not let some job define you, or do not let something or someone define you, okay, or stop you. And that includes family members also. I mean, mother, father, brother, sister, son, daughter, because your evolution is vital, and you want to keep that wavelength that you are spiritually traveling in consistent. All right, you want to keep it consistent. So your conscious is there to warn you when you're getting too far off balance. All right, so or when you're redlining. Okay, another question is, religion seems to be good for some people and helps them be a better person. So why is religion a bad thing? Okay, so the question is, religion, I've seen people who've benefited from religion, or quote unquote became a better person. So why is religion bad? Okay, religion is an institution that teaches you or trains you and indoctrinates you to rely upon someone or something outside of yourself. Okay, period. Now, you can use, upon gaining gnosis, you can use religion, and you can comprehend the importance of religion to those that are uninitiated. But the thing is it's being used, present tense, it's being used as a system of control. All right, and to some extent the masses need to be controlled. Okay, however, those of you that are actually watching this video and even care are a part of a remnant, part of a small minority of people that are really focusing on transcending this bullshit and getting to the truth and the real meaning of why you are here. Okay, plain and simple. So religion can be used as a tool to bring you in to the knowledge. Once you get the exoteric, then you actually are or can become polarized to accepting the esoteric too, I mean, but it's a tool, and it can be used as a weapon. So I guess it's neutral at the end of the day, as far as religion is. However, if it's training you to give energy, and currency is energy too, if you're out there tithing, if it's training you to focus your will, channel your will and your intent, and direct it towards something outside of yourself, and making you feel guilty for even fucking being born, then I would say it's not healthy. There's freedom outside of religion, because once you step outside of the matrix of religion, then you can always hop back in it and explore everything, because you've knocked the walls down. You've seen the code behind it. You've seen the source code. So once you actually step out of religion and step out of all these sects, then you will be able to clearly see the benefits and the dangers of all religion. That's why I think that it's so important that we get out of these religions and stop being so sectarian, because once you set up laws or religious dogma, you box yourself in. Okay, you box yourself in, and everyone that is outside of your box becomes an enemy or a Gentile or a Goyim or Satan. Okay, for just even presenting an alternate view of what you call reality. All right, so yeah, that's pretty much it. Another question is, I use the Bible. The question is, you use the Bible and quote from the Bible, but you say it's false. Isn't that contradicting? So the question is, Brother Prodigy, I hear you quoting the Bible, but then again you say that the Bible's false and it isn't worth shit, and which I've never said that. But the thing about the Bible is, and the reason why I do quote from the Bible a lot, is because the Bible is filled with astrological and esoteric concepts and precepts concerning life, death, resurrection, okay, which is vital in understanding our travels and how we got here as nomads, you know what I'm saying, as sojourners, okay? So it is important, but I don't say, I mean, yeah, the Bible's false because, but then again, bring it back full circle. This is based upon interpretation, all right? Interpretation. How are you interpreting the scriptures? You know, are you interpreting it in a historical perspective, or from a mythological paradigm? You know, with astrological concepts and precepts laced in. You know, how are you interpreting the Bible? Okay, because religion teaches that you should interpret it literally. When if you do interpret it literally, it makes no fucking sense. I mean, snakes can talk, bricks can float. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't make any sense. So, and I was caught up in religion too. So, I mean, I can't really kick against the goals on this one because I was in it. You know what I mean? But there comes a time, or there should come a time in your growth as spirit to where you start to wake up. Alright, which leads me to this question. Okay, this question is suicide. What's up with suicide? Is suicide, knowing all this and knowing my perspective, how do I feel about suicide? Okay, how do I feel about someone taking their own life for whatever reason? Okay, and this is how I feel about suicide. Suicide is, in a way, waking up. Okay, in a way, waking up. All right, now there's people commit suicide for many different reasons. It could be over a girlfriend, boyfriend. It could be to where they just are fed up and just don't want to deal with the bullshit anymore. Okay, you know, but speaking to those that are just don't want to deal with the bullshit no more and commit suicide, how do I feel about it? I mean, that's if that's what they feel they needed to do, then I really, unless I was really around them, but I mean, I really can't say it would be a bad thing if you decide to commit suicide. Because remember, when you're committing suicide, you're separating the spirit from the body. Okay, and usually when people commit suicide, there is an awakening that takes place right before they do it. Now, it could be awakening to many things, but basically not wanting to deal with life or their perception of life anymore, they choose to separate from this reality. Okay, now if you have gnosis, if you're conscious, if you're self-realized, that isn't a bad thing. That isn't a bad thing to commit suicide if you're self-realized, if you're knowledgeable, because you will actually go into, because right now we're in, remember what I talked about in death, quote unquote, we're in a resting period right now. But in that resting period, there's also there's a growth period. So you're in the womb, which is the tomb, all right, that the spirit is encapsulated in, and then subsequently you have birth, and then you have growth. Okay, now this growth is actually the upswing of your spirit actually preparing, okay, for the release. All right, now we all have a point of death physically. Okay, we all have a period in which we are physically going to die, but spiritually, that is being born again. And if you have, that's why the ancient Gnostics talked about knowledge being so important. If you have knowledge of who you are, and when I say that specifically, I'm speaking to having knowledge of where you are in your evolutionary process as a spirit. Okay, then you will go out of this dimension, this jurisdiction, into, which is a receptive jurisdiction, Earth, Mother Earth, into a expressive, okay, into an expressive period. All right, and then that period is going to be of expression, spiritual expression. Okay, right now we're in contemplation. We're in death, sleep, slumber, hibernation, contemplation. Okay, once you are born again, quote unquote, die. Once you're born again, it's into demonstration and production. Okay, so your production after you die, your production being born again is going to hinge upon that period that you were born again. So your knowledge, your gnosis of you when you became born again, when you die, when you committed suicide, is going to start your process of production. And if you don't, if you're just an ignorant dead person and commit suicide, then that process isn't going to be full of manifestations. Okay, because you really don't know. You really don't know. You know what I'm saying? It's similar to you being born in matter the first time. You know what I'm saying? Or the previous time, I should say. Okay, so having knowledge is important, specifically when you cross over, because when you cross over, that starts the period of production and manifestation. All right, manifestation, spirit, manifestation, energy, manifestation. Okay, so how do I feel about suicide? If you're knowledgeable and cognizant of who you are in your evolutionary traveling, then I'd say it really doesn't matter. You know what I'm saying? It really doesn't matter. If you get tired of the matrix and tired of the bullshit, you know, and want to check out, then so be it. You know what I mean? I'm not going to judge you for that, because oftentimes a person could feel that they need to commit suicide. Because remember, right? Like, okay, your existence, you were spiritually birthed, production, manifestation, then sleep, hibernation, then you were born again. Okay, you woke up spiritually, woke up because you've now separated from those lower vibrations. So you spiritually woken up, being born again, manifestation, okay, production. All right, so that has to be balanced. The equilibrium of the spirit is the balance of that wavelength, okay, that balance, that evenness, that flow. You know what I mean? Many spirits, their wavelength looks like that. It's like it may be high, then it might be low, then over here, then down. You know, it's not consistent. It's not like a steady flow. And oftentimes the consciousness of, they call it mental illness. You know, all these doctors that claim they know shit, they call it mental illness, but really it's consciousness happening at a subconscious level, telling you that, hey, you might need to end your life early in order to stay balanced, or to prevent you from falling off. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, or getting off your path, off your course. Because your wavelength, which is just as unique as a fingerprint in a snowflake, that wavelength is specific to each person, and your consciousness will warn you and give you signs letting you know when, you know, you're getting too off course. You know what I mean? So you can keep your wavelength streamlined, your vibration streamlined throughout your incarnations. Okay. What time is what I got? Okay. I'm trying to see how long I want this video to be. I want to get through all of them. I'm gonna try to get through all of them. Yeah, I only got a couple left. Aren't we all the same? Here's the question. Aren't we all the same since we all contain pieces of the source? Aren't we all the same? Considering at the end of the day we all contain pieces of the source. Well, no. We're not all the same. We're all different. Okay, and that individuality is brought into existence by the very heartbeat of that source. Okay, that heartbeat, that heartbeat, it sends different vibrations and different frequencies out, quote unquote, and these become individualized units of consciousness. All right, and this is happening within a sea of energy. Okay, and each of us, each spirit has a certain uniqueness to it. But the thing is, in this field of energy, you have pockets that have similar vibrations. Okay, and these vibrations, being similar, are attracted to similar patches of this dimension we call our universe. Okay, certain frequencies, certain vibrations, when they go into that phase of slumber and sleep, rest upon certain fertile patches of land that we call Earth. This is where your genealogies come in. Okay, your ancestors are spirits that existed in that same pocket of spiritual energy that incarnated at certain points. Okay, so you go see your Aunt Sally or your great grandmother Sally, and you see her, and then she dies like 5 years later. Okay, so those experiences, those memories are a consequence of similar vibrations settling in the womb of women that are actually similar in nature, similar in vibration. Okay, your ancestors are similar in vibration, and just might be you reincarnated. So no, we're not all the same. I would say no, because to me individuality is big. Okay, it's very big. It's very big. It's bigger than we would like to even admit. And then again, you also have men and women that do not have spirit. And actually growing and learning, I'm learning even more about the difference between spirit and soul and matter, even the etheric body. Because how I see it, the body is energized with etheric or etheric energy. It's an energy scaffold. Okay, however, you also have the spirit. Okay, this energy scaffold is energy that exists within the closed system, our universe, the cosmos. Okay, but you have spirit that incarnates over and over again. Okay, over and over again. And the period of incarnations varies because the wavelengths vary. Okay, some wavelengths are very tight, so they incarnate quicker. Some are broader, so it takes them longer to incarnate. Our ancestors that lived thousands of years ago, that lived to be like very old, 100, 200 years old. That was a byproduct of spirit. a spirit having a broad wavelength. Okay, so it needed time in the physical, all right, to rest, to compensate for the large amount of time that spirit spent in quote unquote heaven or the spiritual realm. Okay, the time that you spend should be balanced in each jurisdiction. Okay, it should be balanced in order to maintain equilibrium, for the spirit to maintain equilibrium and decrease entropy, resistance, drag. Okay, so now I would say no. All right, the next question is, what's my sign? My sign, my sign is, I'm a Cancer. I was born June 26th, 1983. So, if you guys want to look that up or not, it's up to y'all. But yeah, my birthday is June 26th, 1983. Cancer. I don't know I'm not really too versed in that really, as far as like, you know, as far as astrology. I'll really admit it, but yeah, for those of you that would like be interested in doing that and looking it up for me, I'd appreciate it. You know what I'm saying? But the next question is, how can I tell people? This is the last question actually too. How can I tell people about the Matrix and what I know? And there's also a second part to that question. Why do they think I'm crazy? Why do people think I'm crazy for believing what I believe in, or knowing what I know, rather? Slocky. And how can I tell my family members, my spouse, my best friend, my mama, my dad about this information? Well, it all depends. It all depends in the age of their spirit. It all depends. How many incarnations they've had, how long they've experienced each incarnation, how many times they've been born again and have to offer themselves up, have to offer, how many times spirit has had to offer itself up on the cross, which the cross being that void, that great divide between being conscious and having those senses open, and then slowly decreasing in consciousness, thus falling or dying into matter or Maya. Okay, it all depends. You know, it all depends. But usually, if they're not receptive to it, or even if, I'm sure you've even been talking to people in like, like they can't even register it. You know, it's like it's not even hitting their ears. You know what I mean? It doesn't compute. Well, it could be a couple things. They could be spiritless, to where it just doesn't register. It's like, you know, a foreign language. Or they're just young, you know, or they're just young and naive and want to be the class clown, you know, all these incarnations and never learning anything. Because there's people like that out there that just are born into a system that they use for just dreaming, and it means nothing to them. They don't get anything out of it. So I would say just try to be honest. Try not, if you're talking to people that are religious, it can be hard. You know, you might have to I think Paul said, I became all things to those, that way I might win them more. So just use common sense, or should I say just feel where they're at, and then go from there, which is also important to, which is why it's also important to study. You know, and as a Gnostic, you're required to study. You're required to study diligently and to be abreast on various different religions and systems, okay, and institutions. As a Gnostic, you know, it just comes natural. You know what I mean? But I would say just baby step it, take it slow. If they're not receptive, don't really push it on them. You know, so, but you will alienate a lot of people. But at the end of the day, it's about your evolution. Not to sound cocky, that you should walk around cocky and all egotistical and stuff, but like, just know that, because you can be humble and still be about your evolution. You know what I'm saying? You just can't let it get to your head. So that's pretty much it. Once again, if you haven't gotten it, go out and get it. Gnosis of a God, written by me. Please support. Please support. It's very important. And because working in the Matrix, I'm like, oh, I can't do it. Like, you know what I mean? Mentally, I can't do it. You know what I mean? I could do it for a while, but it's like mentally draining. And I know y'all feel me when I say that. Y'all know what I mean when I say mentally draining. Going out in the Matrix at some damn bullshit job, 9 to 5 or 8 to 4 or whatever it is, second shift, graveyard, whatever it is. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's just a system that puts to work those that likes to put to work those that are still plugged in. So anyway, once again, my name is BroProdigy, aka Will I Am. I'm back. This video is for all of you out there that haven't seen a video of me, because I really don't like getting, posting videos, but I thought that, I should really do it and let y'all know where I'm coming from and give y'all, a dedicated video, so y'all can look at him and say, hey, he's batshit crazy. So, alright, that's it. I'm just gonna go and try to relax a little bit, soak up some of the sun. Peace, Hotep.